Do that. Okay, awesome. All right, welcome back. It's Tuesday, December 9th, 2025, and we're back together to learn about creating the short story anthology. I don't have my copy yet. I think it arrives tomorrow. I think that's what Amazon told me. So I can't show it off in my hand, but next week I'll be able to do that when we do our book release party. Tonight, I wanted to show you the software that my intern, Gabby York, used to create the book. And then I will take you into KDP/Amazon and show you the process that we go through in getting the book published. So this is one of those benefits of winning the contest. You get a little behind the scenes information. All right, so the first thing to tell you is that when I'm editing, I edit in Microsoft Word using the subscription because to date, it's the best grammar and spell checker. That being said, it was not good this year in 2025. It's been so much better in years previous. So I don't know if that was an AI thing or what the deal was, but when I was editing your guys' story, Microsoft Word was not nice. And I complained. So here's hoping they got through that and they get back to being the best out there. And you do get what you pay for. So that's why I don't use one of the free ones, is if I don't have to if I can have the computer check stuff for me, then I'll have the computer check stuff for me. But it does require going into the settings for Microsoft Word. And there is a video in the grammar and style add-on that explains going into the settings for Microsoft Word subscription. Anyway, in there you can set things like, I'm an American, so I want commas inside quotation marks. And hey, I really like that Oxford comma. You should check for that. So there you can do all these different check boxes and the computer will check it for you with Microsoft Word. All right, so then once we get the files all cleaned up, then the next thing we do is we put it into Adobe InDesign. So we use two Adobe products. So Adobe's been around at least since the 1990s, because I remember using it in the 1990s. So I know it was around in the 1990s. So we used Adobe InDesign for the interior of the book. And then Gabby chose to use Photoshop for the cover. She could have used InDesign for the cover as well, but she chose to do it in Photoshop, and that's just fine. Forgot to tell you, I have a nasty cold, so I may be muting every now and then to sneeze or cough or something. And I'm definitely drinking hot tea as well. All right, so let me show you Adobe InDesign. All right, that's out of the way. Oh, that one's Photoshop. Take you to InDesign. Okay, so Adobe bought up all sorts of different programs. So like Photoshop, uh, originally for photo editing, Premiere originally for video editing. InDesign is more powerful than a word processor. It's intended to set up documents. Like people who design magazines probably use Adobe InDesign. The interior of books, the professional world uses Adobe InDesign. So there are other ways, other online options for creating books. I haven't played with them because I would much rather have a product that I know that is going to last. So we took all the content and we put it in here in Adobe InDesign. And one of the things I wanted to point out to you before you get your books is that there's a nice big white space here on the title page. And that's the perfect place for you to sign your name. So if you're getting the copies at your house and then wrapping them up to give to grandparents, aunts, uncles, that sort of thing, you could take a moment and say to grandma and grandpa, hope you enjoy these stories or whatever, and sign your name. That's what that big white space is for right there. All right. And then we've got copyright information. So you'll see over here on the left that you retain copyright for your own short story. And then anybody who used a registered trademark in their story, we had to put information here to say who owns that copyright. Normally, copyright page is only one page, but because I make a point in listing out all of your short stories, we end up going on to. Huh. Yeah, so this is, I mean, this is the software. Let's see, what can I show you in here? Over here on the right are quick ways to get around the different pages. But up here at the top are essentially templates for the page. So, like, let me go to, we'll just go to one of the stories. So, Sophia's story. It has a little C. You probably can't see that because it's so tiny on the screen. But there is a C over this icon, and that's because we took the chapter template and put it on this page. If it were a regular page, I would just take this master one and put it on there. And you can see then we've got a header up top. But we don't want that on a chapter page, so we grab and put the chapter over it. And it formats the first page of the chapter the way that we want it to. So this is all the software. This gets a little interesting when you're inserting a bunch of photos because you don't click paste, you click place, Place, to get all of these images in here. So it does work differently than Microsoft Word, although Microsoft Word can do a lot of this. But just to show you that this is what the software looks like. Oh, and this software also uses styles. So I told you about styles, taught you about styles. So let me go click in the story. All right, and it is set to normal style. When I go to the first page of the story, I've got author is the style. And chapter title for Chasing Yesterday. For the first paragraph, I called it drop cap so that we could have this big letter at the beginning. So using styles is a universal thing. Even works on creating web pages. So heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 is also on web pages. They just abbreviate it with H1, H2, H3. So remember those styles because they will benefit you even out in the world after you're done with all your schooling. All right, the other piece of software, Gabby chose to use Adobe Photoshop. One of the cool things about Adobe Photoshop, and technically InDesign has this too, it's just harder to use, is that you can have layers. So I'm going to just hide a whole bunch of Gabby's work. So I'm not deleting it, I'm just hiding it. And once again, I know it's hard to see because the screen is so small, but there are little eyeball icons over here on the different layers on the right. And I'm just going to start hiding them so that you can see what's down at the very bottom. Keep going. Oh, I expected there to be a template down there, Gabby. All right. When,
Yeah, I think I have the one if you want me to send it to you.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Although,
give me a sec.
do I have my email open? That will be the question. All right. So you're sending me an actual the template file that Amazon gave us.
Yeah, yeah, the one with like the parameters and stuff.
All right, let me get logged into my email. So Gabby was one of my short story students at the in-person co-op where I teach, which is not classical conversations. And so she took a full year 1 credit short story course for me, which was more than what you guys had to do her senior year, and then went off to college, and she's been interning for me ever since. So she's made the last 2 books for me. All right.
Okay, so I actually did send you the right one, but the thing is, I put the template on top and then adjusted everything underneath instead of doing it the other way
Oh,
around. So it's the first
okay.
layer.
So, all right. Well, then I will go back, show you guys what I'm doing. Oops, I do the screen here. Okay. So let me get on my layers here and get them turned back on.
Yeah, it should be at the very top. All you need to do is like make it visible.
Okay. There we go. Well, that's the right layer. Just looks really weird, like something's on top of it.
Yeah, I just turned down the opacity, so
Ah, sneaky, sneaky.
yeah.
Okay.
It's locked too, so.
Okay. All right. So what we do is we go to Amazon KDP and we tell it how many pages are in the book and what dimensions we want the book. And KDP will give us this template back. So then Gabby knows that the front cover has to fit in here, not on these reddish pinkish lines. That the binding, on the end needs to be centered in here, and that the back cover needs to fit in here. And this is where the barcode will be. I'm on a Zoom call with Stu. Thank you. Was Cassie good? Yes. So that's one of the things. I don't really have to put them all back. I can just tell it to go back the way it was. Revert. And that'll bring it back. But once again, that layer is right here so that Gabby can check to make sure that she got everything within the margins there. So that is that software. And then out of, oh, no, wrong one. Here we go. Amazon Kindle. Okay, KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. So somebody else started the whole self-publishing thing, probably the one that's most known is Ingram Spark. And so you can set up your book in Ingram Spark, and then it'll be available to both in-person bookstores and places like Barnes and Noble and Walmart and Books a Million, and anybody who sells books online can access self-published books from Ingram Spark. Amazon quickly figured out that they would make more money if they set up Kindle Direct Publishing and printed their own books. Uh, Amazon is still the number one seller of books by far. They've got huge, more than 3/4 of the market. And so a lot of people do choose to publish only on KDP because Amazon will give them more money. And since they're the ones selling the most books anyway, it tends to be kind of a win-win sort of thing. That being said, there are a lot of people who have philosophical issues with Amazon and don't want to use it. I started using Amazon before they went absolutely politically berserk. And I just haven't taken the time to go figure out anything else. And actually, one of my adult clients just found out that Ingram Spark was not very nice to them. And so we're having a little back and forth with them right now. Kindle tends to be more responsive with their customer service. All right, so once we have the book created and we have our two files, we save each of those files as Adobe PDF files, PDF, and then we're ready to come in here and start the upload. So, all right, because it's already uploaded, I need to go edit rather than create. Oh, excuse me. All right, so you can see across the top that there are three sections: the paperback details, the paperback content, and the paperback rights and pricing. So you just go through each thing and fill in the form. So we're doing English. The title is Legendary Feats, but the subtitle is different. So we need to list those separately. I created a series for this. So I put it in the series. You know, most people don't have series of books, so you would just skip that. As you can see, it's optional. Edition number. Okay, so you can release a book and then update it and release it again, which actually I'm going to do in February for one of my books. And so the second time would be edition number 2. But of course, it doesn't always apply. So you would just skip it if it doesn't. And then you list all the authors. So Gabby, was it 9 or 10 that they let us list?
I'm pretty sure it was 9 and then your credit. I could
Okay.
be wrong.
Okay. So you put in the first and then you start filling in all the rest. And the reason I put me on there is because then on my author page, I can bring all of these together and people can see that they all go together. All right, and then you include a description. So that shows up on Amazon. So let's go look it up. Sorry. Oh, legendary feats. So here we go. So over here on KDP, I put in a description. Over here on Amazon, this is where it shows up. All right, publishing rights. They want to know if the person putting it up there, me, owns the copyright and have the right to publish it. Like you guys gave me the right to publish your stories as opposed to public domain work. So, for example, someday on my wish list is to publish the Scarlet Letter with activities and notes in it. And so I would need to figure out then if I list this as a public domain work, or because I'm adding notes, it's not public domain anymore. But you could take something like the Scarlet Letter and publish a copy of it. Matter of fact, somebody has done that and made a boatload of money off of this one. They came up with a really pretty cover design and they reprinted the work because it's in the public domain. So Amazon wants to know whether it's public domain or not. And of course, got to know, whether you're doing anything that's really for adults. You can list ages if you want to. I don't, I skip it. In the United States, we do Amazon.com, but you can see there are other options like the UK, France, so on and so forth. And then you figure out categories. So, with this book, I just go with super intuitive categories. But there is a new little app. Well, I don't know how new it is. There is an app that you can get where you can research categories because there's a whole strategy of finding the right category so that you potentially will be higher ranked in a category. So let's go look over here. We scroll down, we get product details, and it says bestseller rank. So right now, you guys are number 210 in children's short story collections. So, depending on which category you're in will affect your ranking. And so there are a lot of authors who spend time being very strategic about which categories they choose. And then as you can see down here, you put in keywords as well, because a lot of people go to Amazon up here and just type in keywords for things that they're looking for. And so there are a number of Challenge B um, anthologies in here. And so, somebody just types in Challenge B, these are a bunch that they will get. And look, yours is number 2, and last year's is number 4. So that's pretty cool. All right. And then when you're doing the publication date, you can either say publish it immediately, which is what I did, or you can set a specific date. The problem is that with the paper books, whether softcover or hardcover, they really won't let you set up a pre-order option. They will let you do that though with the ebook, with a Kindle ebook. All right, and then you save and continue. And then we're going to tab number 2. All right, so we are doing the free version. So we're letting KDP give us a number. So on every one of your books, like you grab any of the books that you have to read for school, go to the copyright page, and you will find that it has an ISBN number. N stands for number, so it's kind of redundant. But the whole idea is that every book is assigned a number because there's a huge database of books ever since they started the system. It costs money to buy an ISBN number, uh, especially individual ISBN numbers. They're cheaper if you can buy in bulk. So publishers will buy probably thousands at a time. And so individually, they're a whole lot cheaper. But when you're only one person, then it costs a lot of money. And that's how KDP was one of the reasons KDP was so successful in getting self-published authors to use their platform, because they set it up so that authors don't have to put any money out to get their book published. They don't have to buy an ISBN, and they don't have to pay a setup fee. Ingram Spark, when I first published in 2019, they had a setup fee. They've since changed their model because they're realizing that they're losing money to KDP. But anyway, I didn't spend any money, so I went with the free KDP number. And then I make decisions about what color paper, what size paper, all those sorts of things. So we did a black and white interior, of course, no color, and that's because printing in color is very, very expensive. Matter of fact, the first time I did this, let's see. Oh, yeah. It was when COVID broke out. So the spring of 2020. I wasn't directing at that time, but I knew I was going to be directing the next year. And so I offered to produce the book for my community's Challenge B class. And they only had 3 students. And one of them had done artwork in color. And so I printed it in color. There were only 3 stories, and it wasn't obnoxiously expensive. By the time I published the following year, so 2021, the price had gone way up. Like we never would have been, I never would have published that thing in color unless the moms were totally okay with paying the extra money. And since there were only 3 of them, they may have been willing to. But yeah, the cost of color for the interior of book is very, very high. All right. You'll notice that I chose cream paper. It's your personal choice, but the tradition is that cream paper is used for fiction and white paper is used for um, something that would be more like a self-study. So, like printing a Bible study or, something along those lines usually is done on white. The whole idea is that the cream is easier on your eyes and people are reading to relax. So that's what tradition is. We do 6.9 books. Believe what that's talking about is, does any of the print go all the way to the edge of the page? And we aren't doing that. So the answer is no. And then the book cover, do we want it to be matte or glossy? And the reason I choose matte is because glossy will get that reflection. And, um, you want to be holding up the book by your face when you're on the camera, and you don't want light reflecting off it so people can't see the book. So that's why I do matte. All right, and then you upload the interior. That's what they mean by manuscript. That's the interior. And then you upload the cover. You have to answer some questions like, for this one, we did not include a barcode, but for my adult clients, we include a barcode. So you just have to check so that they know. And look, Amazon wants to know if any of the content is AI generated. So we have to be able to answer that question as well. And then if I were to go make any changes to either one of these files, it would force me to click this previewer. So I'm going to go ahead and do it so that you can see what it looks like. All right. Oh, and I forgot to point out, so I'll just say it now. Notice that the cover, what's on the right ends up being the front of the book, and what's on the left ends up being the back of the book. So you kind of, when you're first doing this, you kind of got to wrap your mind around that, but then it all makes sense. So this is yet another check. So, Gabby goes and she uploads the file and she's checking against all these lines on here, all these dotted lines, to make sure that her design fits in there. And then I have her, because when I do it myself and when she does it, we flip through every single page. And we don't have to read every page, but I have learned just to flip through like this because I'll quickly see whether anything got moved by accident. Or I'll notice where, this is the chapter title, where I accidentally put it on the first page of a chapter. So we do go through and we click through the entire book to make sure that it looks right. And then when we're done, we click approve. I'm just going to exit because it's already approved, but normally we would click approve. And then once that's done, it says, okay, here's the summary. The book actually costs $4.50 to print in US dollars. So that's the first piece of interesting information. If I were to print it on Ingram Spark would say that it costs more than that. It would probably be closer to $5 from Ingram Spark. All right. Territories, I always leave it at default worldwide. Um, we've already determined that it's Amazon.com is our primary. But then this is where we sit and we play with dollar amounts. So Amazon.com, of course, is the first one. What I want you to notice here is that I cannot list it for anything less than $9.01. Now, it actually costs $4.50 to print it, but they won't let me set it anywhere between 450 and 901 because Amazon is going to make money off of every purchase. So your guys' book, I always try to hit $9.99. Last year I wasn't able to do that. I had a lot more stories, and so this one costs more. But all the other ones have always been set at $9.99. So what that means, though, is that number is just not right. Royalty $1.49 should be 98 cents. Huh. I have no idea why they don't have it say 98 cents. Uh, Basically, what you're doing, if you were doing this as an adult, like I do with my adult clients, um, trying to remember, we just published a book this summer. Uh, and it's about the same length as yours. So it was probably her minimum probably was around $9. And she listed her book for $17.99. So she has a much larger royalty. I'm not doing this to make money though. I'm trying to keep it inexpensive for all of you. So I just set it at $9.99. All right. And then, it's possible that somebody in another part of the world would pick up this book. And so that we've got all these other places that Amazon is, and Amazon will just default the prices here. And I go in and I change all of them to end in 9, whether it's 99 or let's see, this one in Japan, I just changed whatever number was originally there to 9 on the end because the psychology works. We all know that $9.99 is $10, but the psychology works. So I always go through and I change them all. All right. We can then request a proof. Gabby, do you happen to have your proof?
I thought you'd ask, so yeah, right here.
Can you show us the proof?
Yep, I got it right here.
Hang on, I am going to pin you. Hang on a second. Where'd it go?
Any particular part you want me to like linger on or?
Oh, just want you to hold up the cover because you can see that when they send a proof, they put a band across the top. That is an Amazon thing. If you go through Ingram Spark, they don't do that. But Amazon does because Amazon doesn't want Gabby to go take this book and sell it. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So that's the deal with that. Back to the webpage. Okay. So we can request proofs. And then, of course, when you're all done, you publish your paperback and then you wait for Amazon to notify you. So I was on Monday morning, I went looking for the book because I was like, I don't think Amazon notified me. Is it published? Well, they notified me at like 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and it went into a folder, and I missed, going through the folder. So I missed it coming through. But you just go check. Uh and see. You'll get an email notification, and then you should be able to see it up here. Let's see. Let's see if the sample thing works. Yay, it looks like it does. All right. So here's another thing that I have figured out. When you publish through Amazon, it'll give you these preview, it gives the customer previews. But if you only publish through Ingram Spark, it doesn't give you previews, which is really disappointing, honestly. So, for example, I have a book out for pre-order right now, and you can't see the interior of the book on Amazon. And I haven't found it on any other website either. Let's see what else. All right, I think that's everything I can think of. All right, so I just gave you a ton of information, and I need to go. The Story Warden Rabbit Room allow authors to publish on their sites. I don't know. I don't know Story Warden Rabbit Room. So I can't answer that question. What other questions do you have for me? Oh, I guess the other thing I could tell you, Gabby and I figured this out this year. So, I taught you styles in Microsoft Word and Google Docs and all that. We figured out that if in Microsoft Word we have all our styles correctly named and complete, then when we bring it into Adobe InDesign, the process goes so much faster. So Gabby was much faster in producing the book this year than she was last year. It's like we knew there had to be a good way. How many students entered the competition? Good question. All right, we published 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I turned down 6. So that means 33 entered and 27 won. Independent companies. I haven't used Barnes and Noble. I know that some of my author friends have gotten mad at Amazon and gone over to Barnes and Noble. So I know that it can be done. I have no idea what their terms are. But if it is a book just for you, you could probably print it anywhere. Let's see. Publishing on independent companies. Can you tell me more about what you mean by independent companies? I know there are some online book creating software companies now. I get a little worried about those because everything's online. So what happens if my internet crashes? Whereas Adobe, I can use it without the internet. And then I also get a little concerned about those pop-up companies because what if they disappear? Will I be able to edit my book? Like if we're reading through this book and we find an error and we didn't catch an editing, we can go change the file in Adobe. Well, what happens if these online places disappear? Will I have access to the file to make the changes that I want? All right. Companies that are more communities, such as one focusing on Christ that use one or two warehouses and don't have their own products, more like a vendor. Yeah, I don't know about these, but you feel free to send me an email, joy@mybodymyworship.com, and I will go look them up. Um, especially because today we got really irritated with Ingram Spark. And I don't want all my eggs in the Amazon KDP basket. And I'm trying to figure out other things like I've been designing t-shirts, and so they're print on demand t-shirt companies. So you like this one. I'm an award-winning author and I have the Holy Spirit advantage. And a local company that I know is Christian will print them, but they don't do print on demand, which means I got to keep an inventory and I have to ship stuff out. So that I'm like, do I really want to be doing that? No, not really. Uh, but yeah, if you send me a note and give me some ideas to where to look, I'll go research it. What other questions do you have for me? I seriously thought about completely dropping KDP this year. So I have a book out for pre-order right now through Ingram Spark because that's the only way I can do pre-order. And um, the advantage of that is that you can promote the book during, from the time you first put it out there until the date it's going to be released. And then the whole idea is to create a whole bunch of hype around the book and get people to buy on the day of, because that'll pop you up in the rankings. And when you're popped up in the rankings, you get fed to more people. I mean, it's like social media. So the more popular the book is, the more people see it. The whole idea is to kind of make the book go viral. So that's the advantage of setting up a pre-order date, setting a specific date. Uh, but I think Ingram, the way I've got it set up right now, I think Ingram was only going to give me like a couple dollars per book, whereas Amazon would give me at least $5, if not more, per book that I sell. And so then I'm stuck in that. Uh, how important is it for me to make money off of my book? And everything I do is ministry work, but money is a tool. So if I make money off the book, then I've got more money to go do other projects. And so I'm kind of stuck in that right now where Ingram's really not going to pay me very much. So the question is, once the book is released, do I then also publish it through KDP and make more money off of it? So I have to decide before February 4th. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not playing that game. Favorite short story this year. You guys ask me that every year. Uh your your stories were a lot of fun to read. I'll say that. Next week we're going to do the book release party. I am uh I am going to seriously look at doing something other than Zoom. So here's my challenge. Zoom, my connection, as many different ways as I've tried it, will only go to my personal page rather than to the My Body, My Worship homeschool page. And so we can live stream to my page, but I'd rather live stream to the thing that's focused on homeschooling. So that's why I don't want to use Zoom. I used, let's see, I think it was 2 years ago, I used StreamYard, which is it's a really good tool, but it has a limit as to how many people can be on the screen at once. So usually at the end of the book release party, I have all of you say, I'm an author and I have the Holy Spirit advantage with your cameras on, right? I mean, the whole idea is to show you guys off. And I can't do that on StreamYard because I can't have all of you on the screen at the same time. So I'm going to look into, I've got another tool. Uh, my boys actually introduced me to this other one. And so I use probably a very small fraction of what it's capable of doing. And so I need to look up to see if I can do what I want to do with it. And if not, are there other options? All right. Can I include my short story in another anthology that I want to publish? Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. So you own your story. You can do whatever you want with it. If, let's say, someday a movie producer wants to produce one of your stories, they'll get in contact with me and I will get in contact with you. I don't get any money out of the deal. It's all yours. All right. So you can do whatever you want with your story. You can't do whatever you want with the whole book. The book as a whole belongs to me, but the individual story belongs to you. Uh let's see. I can send back to you your edited uh document from Microsoft Word or upload it into Google Docs to give it back to you if you would like that. So then just send me an email. Once again, at joy@mybodymyworship.com. How you publish it is up to you because you own it. So if you want to do a pen name or different pen name or whatever it is you want to do, that's totally up to you. It's yours. What other questions do you have for me? Not hearing any questions. All right. We will do the same time next Tuesday. I'll decide what technology we're using before next Tuesday. I will send you the appropriate link on Tuesday. So I will introduce every student who's online. Uh, I will actually name every student and their short story title, even if they're not online. And we'll just go in the order that they are listed on the front of the book, table of contents. And I will, so I have your notes that you submitted when you entered the contest. So I'll give I'll point out some things that are cool about your story and introduce you. And then if you want to say something, you are welcome to say something. It'll be short, but you are welcome to say something. Oh, and I usually ask you guys a question like, what was most surprising? What was the most surprising thing that you learned about writing short stories? What was the most interesting thing you experienced while going through this publishing process? Um, did you have a favorite part of the class? Something simple like that to get you to talk. Let's see. Any other questions in there? I don't think so. All right, so we are going to live stream, and so part of what I will send you next week will also be where your friends and family can find the live stream. So if I end up going to my personal page, then I'll make sure you've got the link to that. Ideally, I'd be going to the My Body, My Worship page on Facebook, the education company one. And so then, your friends, you can send other people the link. Like, this is the page will pop up as, being live. And, the whole idea is to get a bunch of hype, get them to like the video and comment on the video and all that sort of thing. So they get to see you, but we're also practicing a kind of sort of book release party. It's tough to do with 27 authors. It certainly would be different if it was just one author, but we'll do a version at least of a book release party. And then the other thing that you may want to know is that if it was just one author and this was your first book, I would recommend that you have an in-person book release party. So I just did this with one of my clients this past summer. Well, actually, she and her friends put it on. I just got to show up. And her friends went all out with decorating the room, which was really cool. They met in a side room of a restaurant. They had some food. she had a big long table where she was selling her books and signing books. She had a place set up where she could take pictures with her friends. And she did do a little bit of a program. Uh, and she just decided that periodically she would speak. When I did my first book release party, uh, I had somebody interview me about the book, and then I talked about the topic of the book, and then sat at the table and people came through and they bought the book and I signed it for them. Put my kids to work running the app that took credit cards and all that. So that would be ideal for your first book. And then I recommend doing an online one as well for people who don't live near you. And we're such an internet world, so any you can market to anybody. So ideally you'd have an online book release party too and reach a different audience. And then you want to have help with that, because ideally, like when I did it with my client this summer, I interviewed her, and then we invited people that she knew, and we had one person designated to respond to comments, because we knew that we wouldn't be able to stop and respond to comments while we were talking. So there is some planning involved, but the whole idea, once again, is to get that video to go viral, because the more people are interacting with it, the more the social media, whatever it is, Facebook or whatever, will feed it to other people. And then you have a wider reach. So that's the idea there. Other questions? All right, I'm not hearing anything. Well, then I'm going to go get hot tea. All right, I intend to be healthier next Tuesday. Enjoy your week. Take care.